Welcome to another episode of Pages from the Dark Side, the monthly book club podcast with a specialization in spooky. I am your host, Dylan Ludwig, and with me, as always, is my lovely wife and co-host,
Alyssa Ludwig.
And we are here this month. First of all, Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
This episode should be coming out the day before, so this will be a little treat for you there. And so we decided that what better way to celebrate that than to choose some good old YA paranormal romance.
Yep.
And I let you pick this month's title. So
this month we are covering Together We Rot by Skyla Arndt.
Mm-hmm. And before we get into that, I want to just give a little bit of update on things here. First of all, probably wondering why the Marvel shirts. Well, Captain America Brave New World comes out this weekend, so why not? Also, last month we had made mention that we were pregnant again, and for anybody that actually follows us on social media in any way, we had miscarriage happen, and and we also had a subsequent hospital trip that followed with that.
Yep. So we are no longer pregnant, in case you were following that story.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be what this channel focuses on, though. So let's go ahead and move on from that.
But I know.
But I definitely was thinking that we should bring that up too.
The more people know about us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're gonna digress. For those that did reach out, thank you for the support there.
Definitely appreciate that.
We really do appreciate that. With that in mind, let's go ahead and just switch gears entirely here. Mm-hmm. So, Alyssa.
Yes, Dylan.
Babe. How big are you into YA romance?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely have read some. I wouldn't say it's my genre, but I don't dislike it.
I feel like you were not. I don't know. Were you you weren't in the Twilight phase?
No.
When that was hitting, were you?
No, I was not into Twilight.
Because YA romance stuff had become popular for a while, and then the minute that Stephanie Meyer came out with those, it became its own little.
Yeah. No, I was a little past I wasn't reading much at that point when that came out, and also I was a little quote unquote old for those books when they came out. Mm-hmm. And they just weren't really my cup of tea.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason I bring that up is because it was already a cult phenomenon for a while. You had stuff that had a tinge of it. Some of the Anne Rice books have tinges of the whole doomed romance sort of angle to them. But Twilight came out, and then all of a sudden it became a mainstream subgenre within, YA fiction and romance fiction. And I didn't know what to expect from this one, because you read it first, and I was just kind of I saw the title, I'm like, is this going to be another Warm Bodies situation where it's, woman falls in love with a zombie type
Which
of
I
thing?
still haven't read.
It's actually worth a read.
Yeah.
And
I'll have to check it out.
And worth a watch of the movie, too, because they're both kind of different animals. The book is a lot more kind of more on the existential drama side, whereas the movie makes it more of a romantic comedy.
Right, okay.
But so that's what my expectation was, just based on the title of this book.
The cover probably also helped with that.
Yeah, it's very
to an extent.
It's it's very much a it's plant zombies. Is that the vibe you get here? Not what the story ended up being.
No, not at all.
Just to warn y'all, we do spoilers on this show, so if you want to go into this book completely cold, turn it off right now and go read it, and then come back.
Yes.
With that in mind.
All right. Are you
gone?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's go.
All right. Let's go ahead and break down what the plot of this is.
All right. So to start with, I also went into this pretty much totally cold. A YouTuber that I follow who is not on YouTube anymore and might not be coming back, Wicked Reading, she talked about this book, and she said she really liked it. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. I'm going to check it out. I tend to trust her ratings on stuff to an extent. She and I definitely differ on some stuff, but a lot of stuff we agree on. So I figured I would like it, and so I got it on Libby and I listened to it, and I did really like it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, plot.
We have 2 narrators on this one.
Yes.
We have...
Which I don't know if that's common in YA. I don't read a ton. Like, I definitely read some YA, but I don't read, like, a ton of it. But a lot of the stuff that I do read, like Clown in a Cornfield, that's just one narrator. To an extent. I mean, like...
To a degree.
There's other narrators that pop in, but it doesn't just, like, switch perspectives back and forth between 2 people.
Yeah, I mean, Clown was a little bit more omniscient than that, because we did switch between characters very often on that.
I guess that was a bad example.
It's okay. I mean, it's been a while since we read those books.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, though, the audiobooks, one of the narrators on this book is the woman who narrated Clown in a Cornfield.
I thought I recognized her when I was listening in, because there's just a way that she does the acting for the characters where I'm just like, this sounds very familiar.
Yes.
To the Clown in a Cornfield audiobook.
Yep. Nope. It's definitely her.
But yeah, we have 2 perspectives here from the 2, would-be lovers, as you will. We have Will which is short for Wilhelmina. Wilhelmina.
Yeah.
Which when I read that visually, I just think of the Wilhelm scream.
Oh my gosh.
But no, so Will, who she is a embittered teenager in this small town who is kind of on a warpath to trying to figure out what happened to the disappearance of her mother.
Right.
Which may or may not be connected to our other narrator, which is Elwood, who is a son of a very fanatical religious cult leader.
Yes.
And they end up...
So again, we're getting kind of Clown in a Cornfield vibes,
a little bit, yeah. This one, it gets a little bit more folk horror in this one than Clown in a Cornfield does, although that 3rd book, we'll talk about that later. But that one goes very much into folk horror, I feel like, just in a non-fantastical way. But here, you have this weird kind of... The way that they cross over is that Will is... okay, let me see if I can get this right, because...
I'm going to let you go.
Elwood's family is also very wealthy.
Yes.
And they're also buying up property that Will lives on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, because Will's family had owned a hotel, and it's kind of like floundering, and so Elwood's family is going to buy it.
Yeah, and even though Elwood does not want to, be associated with his family, at least the negative aspects of his family in that way, Will still has a chip on her shoulder regarding that, and takes it out on him.
Right.
And it's tragic already, because we do find out that they actually used to be like childhood friends.
Yeah, like
pretty close
forever.
Childhood friends too. And then as soon as her mom disappeared, things started to unravel from there.
Well, yeah, because she basically was like, your family did this.
Yeah, and then there's like typical teen drama stuff that surrounds Will as well. She has a best friend who is a ride or die best friend, but then she keeps like hooking up with her on again, off again boyfriend
who doesn't get along with Will.
Who doesn't get borderline Stephen King bully. Doesn't get along with Will at the beginning there.
But by the end, he helps them out. So it's kind of okay. He gets his.
I know we're jumping ahead. We're jumping ahead, but
around.
I do appreciate that they kind of handled that in a very responsible way, which is just to. The would-be bully of any sort of these kind of stories, they just kind of break it down to he's just really human and insecure.
Yeah.
Ultimately. And I appreciated the honesty of that.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is that as the story goes along, there starts to become some weird body horror stuff going on with Elwood.
Like he vomits out bugs.
He vomits out bugs. Plants seem to form to his will around like the environment. And you come to find out that there is this bigger conspiracy with his family that they have set him up to be sacrificed for some greater good.
Right. Yes, that is a wild ride.
And of course, Will ends up falling in love with him.
Right. Well, I think she was already in love with him, you know, when you get right down to it. But she is convinced that his family had something to do with her mom's disappearance, and bum bum bum, they did.
Yeah.
Now Elwood didn't know that.
Yeah.
So.
And a big chunk of this book is going down the will they, won't they sort of path.
Of course. I mean, because it's YA.
Of YA romance, because that's the whole reason that you would keep turning pages here. So here's a question for you, because you're the one that turned me on to this one.
Yes.
What do you think it was about reading this book that set it apart from stuff that we would normally just kind of blow off because it runs the course of being generic? Stuff that is along that Twilight path.
I don't know, honestly. I like the way that the characters are personified, I guess. Mm-hmm. I like not just the two main characters, but also like their friends. They've got a couple of friends in common, and then they've got what's her name? Is it
Miss Delacroix?
Ronnie?
Oh wait. Oh yeah. Oh right.
Her best friend.
Ronnie. Yeah.
I like the way that the characters are fleshed out, and I like the way that the story plays out too, because it's definitely got a lot of mystery vibes to it, which I really dig. Mm-hmm. Like mystery and thriller kind of stuff is my jam. That's my genre.
It feels very sort of, Goonies or Stranger Things.
Kind of, yeah. Where it's like all these teenagers trying to solve this mystery of what's going on in their town, and what is with this cult, and why are they doing the things that they're doing. And
yeah, because it's a convergence of two different, YA genres. You have the romance genre, and then you have the kids can't trust the adults.
Right, exactly. Genre. Which I dig. I dig that a lot.
Which incidentally crosses over with Clown in the Cornfield as well. That was just a way more violent version of that. Mm-hmm. You also have a little bit of a family drama in there because Will's father is just completely burnt out and broken.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, there's a lot of tension between the two of them because he's basically just an absentee father at this point.
Right, even though he's there, but he's there, like drunk all the time and everything.
And so, as a result, the only adult confidant, as I mentioned there, is Miss Delacroix, I think is her name, which is, the mystic tea lady that basically figures everything out.
Yes. Yeah, and she's like the honorary grandma. Mm-hmm. She works in the hotel, and she had been... kind of like a second mom, or maybe a main mom, just not biologically, to Will's mom.
Yeah, a surrogate mom, if you will.
Basically.
Yeah, and you also find out how Will's mom was involved in the conspiracy as well, because she basically found out that not that there was anything supernatural going on quite yet, but that there was definitely a lot of...
some shady stuff.
Child abuse, because didn't she work as like the guidance counselor for the school?
Yes, and so she was working with Elwood.
Yeah, and so there's and as religious fundamentalists tend to be, they're abusive parents. Yeah. So, I will say we're gonna start getting into the parts of this book that get very muddy for me.
Okay.
And that's in terms of the mythology that they're building, like the fantasy mythology that they're building up here.
All right, so what's muddy for you?
I'm not really clear what Elwood is by the end of this book, because there is a lot of... there's a lot of talk throughout the book where the adults are trying to justify their actions by saying, we need to do this, you don't know what you're doing, and like this is going to be the end of everybody.
Right.
And the way it's written, there seems to be a sincerity about it. Mm-hmm. And also with Elwood's powers that manifest, you kind of are wondering if they are right to a certain extent of like, oh, well, this guy could clearly be a danger.
Right.
And in the climax of the book, he transforms into something where he is clearly a danger.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And first of all, it's not clear what he is, Mm-hmm. there's a part of me that because somebody calls it out by name, where like derisively they call him Mothman,
right?
But I'm not really sure what creature he ends up turning into. Is it's like a warped form of like a fairy? Is he some other kind of woodland spirit? Is he some other kind of cryptid that that is not Mothman exactly, but maybe something else tangentially connected? I don't really know by the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just the forest. Like, I think he's just the forest. That's how I read it. Now, like, in the climax that you're talking about where they're having, like, their whole, like, quote-unquote battle and everything, I don't think
Which isn't really a battle, it's just a massacre.
I know.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's, like, the whole forest at that point, because he hasn't let love take over him yet.
That was the other thing, but we'll get to that.
But at that point, I don't know. I don't know if they ever make it fully clear.
Yeah. But then also, he stops his rampage because of the power of love.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Come on.
Why not?
Like, you mean to tell me with all of this danger that they're setting him up to be, and he is clearly dangerous even before leading up to that, all he needed was love?
I mean, I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but it's something about, like, going willingly made it different.
Willingly?
But no, because, like, the previous, it was like a whole thing where every so many years they would have to kill off the first son and get a different son or whatever to continue this legacy of protecting the forest.
First son, is this a 10 plagues thing that I think about it?
God, it might be.
I mean, they don't do any of the other plagues, but
I don't know. There's definitely bugs.
There's bugs, but there's there's no frogs, there's no river blood, nothing like that.
But yeah, I don't know, and I actually don't remember for sure if it was the first son thing, but it's definitely like it has to be a male, and they have to continue on this cycle. Yeah,
I don't know. That was just one of those like very cheesy things to me, where it's like to quell your animalistic urges, you just need Huey Lewis to show you the power of love.
Oh my God! But I mean, how else are they going to end it?
I will give credit to this. I think the epilogue works really well.
Yeah.
Because, by the end of it, he has become one with the forest.
Yes.
He has no physical body anymore.
Right.
Even.
How he's able to talk to her, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's like, the happening rules, where the way that the plants communicate with each other and that.
Well, but she's not a plant.
But is she Mark Wahlberg?
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
But no, like, the way it's resolved, after she's in the hospital and she and her father have their heart-to-heart, where he basically just breaks down, where he's like, I tried to be there for you and I couldn't.
Right.
But he does pick himself back up.
Mm-hmm.
She's on good terms with all the other kids that were helping her out. And then, it comes down to whether she's going to stay in the forest with Elwood or not, because her desire is to leave town.
Right.
I really appreciate that it didn't go the route of like, no, just stay with me forever. Instead,
which is kind of what I assumed was going to happen based on the title.
The title's misleading in that regard.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, misleading is the wrong word, because it might have a different meaning to it. But it's definitely not, when you read that title, it's definitely not, that's not the direction the story goes.
Right.
But I appreciate that he is the more healthy partner in saying, no, go explore the world, go live. Like, I'm good here.
Right. He's like, I'll be here for you when you get back.
Yeah. It's a very, because the thing with the Twilight movies, because I didn't read the books, but I watched the movies. the movies, the relationship always felt possessive.
Yeah.
In those, in a very negative and toxic way.
Right.
Also, my other problem with those movies have so many problems, but my other big problem with that is that I almost said Elwood. Edward has basically no flaws to him.
Right.
Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, he's a superhero, basically. And here, because most of the story is body horror leading up to this very fantastical thing, and also just the family dynamic they have to grow up with, there's genuine conflict going on with Elwood that you sympathize with, and you can understand why he would tell Will, you need to get away from me.
Right.
Because you don't know what he is for the longest time.
Right. Well, he doesn't know what he is for the longest time.
But I was, this is a genre that I tend to have to grade on a curve because I'm generally not big into, YA romance personally. Right. I mean, I like straightforward romance. Quite not, what you'd see at like a, grocery store shopping shelf or anything like that. Right. But stuff that has like a, I like romantic comedy type of stuff.
Not like the Harlequin romance.
No. Yeah. No, not at all. Right. I like stuff that's very grounded.
Yeah.
When it gets into fantasy romance, that's, because I also didn't read like Court of Thorn and Roses or whatever that series is. I didn't read. Yeah, I know you were very down on that. I didn't read Fourth Wing. I didn't read any of that kind of stuff. I'm very out of the loop when it comes to that.
Not into the romantasy.
No, not romantasy. I like romance, not romantasy.
Got it.
Which is very odd because I'm a genre guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprised at the directions that this took.
Mm-hmm.
They felt very real. While at the same time, I did have to knock it a little bit because it does stick to the conventions a little too closely for me. I don't know if we should go to ratings right now, but
sure, why not?
Okay, do you want to go first or?
I can go first.
All right, go for it.
So, when I first read this, and I had to do a reread, even though I just read it back in October. I didn't realize how recently I read it. I just read it back in October. I had to do a reread. But, there's been a lot going on, so...
it's easy to miss that.
Oh, my gosh. But when I first read it, I gave it a 4-star on Goodreads, and rereading it, I went ahead and, again, gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, but on Storygraph, you're able to do, like, a little bit of nuance, and I think I gave it a 3.75 there. But okay. we'll just say 4.
Which, by the way, because I had to get... You said 4?
Yeah, round it up to 4.
Because I got a new phone, I obviously haven't downloaded Storygraph yet.
I know.
But, okay, so 4 skulls for you. Cool.
Yes.
I've run down a lot of it from myself here. I like the very, grounded and realistic human portrayals of the characters. Mm-hmm. I believed them. I thought that the relationships between the characters were handled in a very responsible way.
Yeah.
And good model for the target demographic that is going to be reading this.
Right, and I think that's important.
That is important. For me, those are the things that help the thing be, better than the sum of its parts.
Mm-hmm.
It sticks too close to the conventions of the romantasy genre for me to say... Well, yeah, I can recommend this to people that would read other kind of harder stuff that I tend to go for.
Right.
I will give it a 3 out of 5 skulls.
Okay.
But it's a very enthusiastic one.
Okay. Got it.
If I could do a 3.5, that's what it would be at. But, if you want something that's very, very light and very easy to read, and something that, is going to be, make you feel something,
right?
But in a very non-toxic way.
Yes,
I would say yes to this one.
Okay,
so yeah,
I dig it.
3 out of 5, not bad.
Yeah,
but
Well, also I think we've talked about before. I don't know if we've talked about it here, but we've talked about it in our personal life that I am very free with my 4 and 5 star ratings.
I know.
Or skulls, I guess, in this case.
I know, and I'm a little bit more strict on that kind of stuff, but that's the English major coming out of me.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, if I can enjoy it, it's probably going to be a 4.
Yeah.
If it's really, really good, it's going to be a 5.
Yeah, but I like Skyla Arndt's writing. I really want to see what she does next.
Yeah.
I think she's still pretty new on the scene as far as I know.
I think so. I actually
This is the only book of hers I know.
Yeah, I didn't actually look in to see if she does anything else. But I did read her little blurb in the back there, and her little blurb's funny. So
yeah, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, that's it for our February Valentine's Day episode here.
Yes.
So coming up, we will have a special Dylan's birthday episode.
Yeah. So is that going to be a surprise?
I'm not telling what that's going to be yet.
That's a surprise book.
That'll be a surprise. But then after that, in March, we are going back to revisit some more Stephen Graham Jones.
Yes. Very, very excited.
Very excited for that. And we are going to be talking about I Was a Teenage Slasher.
Yes.
His most recent book up until his new one coming out in the same month, Buffalo Hunter Hunter.
Yes.
So it won't coincide exactly with the release of that, but
it'll be close.
It'll be close enough that any excuse to talk about Stephen Graham Jones.
Yes,
there.
Absolutely.
And also, I just want to mention that the hats that we were wearing.
Yes.
Alyssa knitted these.
I did knit these.
There
are little matching hats. I want to make some for the kids, but I haven't yet.
She once made one. She made this one for me first because I'm like, I really like the slouchy beanie style, but and I like it heavy, and I can never find any. And she's just like, I'll knit some for you, and I'm like, you would do that for me? And she's like, yeah, I would do that for you. And then she saw how good it looked on me, even though it's really just kind of covering up how ratty my hair is right now.
Oh my gosh.
And then she was like, you know what? I want to look good like him, so
so I made my own.
You don't wear yours as often as I
don't.
do.
Well, it was missing for a while.
Yeah, this one's got some wear and tear on it.
Yeah, well, you wear it all the time.
I do.
So I'm glad I could give that for you.
So
give that for you. Do that for you.
So yeah, thank you all so much. You can find me at Mr. Hyperware at WordPress.com. Also, Mr. Hyperware on Instagram. And Mr. Hyperware on Blue Sky. Where can people find you?
I am on YouTube as the Earbud Bookworm, and that's about it right now.
Okay.
I gotta up my social media game, I guess.
That's okay. We'll get you. We're getting there.
Yeah.
And if you have any suggestions for anything that you'd like us to read and cover on the show, email us at pagesfromthedarkside, all one word, @gmail.com.
Yep.
All right. And with that in mind, we will see you in the next chapter of
Pages from the Dark Side.
If you or someone you know has been affected by miscarriage, visit www.miscarriagehurts.com for resources and support. If you are in crisis and in the United States, you can call 988 or text 741-741 to be connected to a crisis counselor. International resources can be found online. Remember, you are not alone.
This has been a production of Pages from the Dark Side. Sound and video production by Alyssa and Dylan Ludwig. Music and artwork by Aaron Shively.